Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome to our nightmare.
Okay, I'll start with a question. This obviously is a kind of a prequel to Treasure Island, and it's such a classic story. Going into this, what were the things you were looking forward to, and what were the things that kind of made you hesitant, if you had any kind of like hesitancy going into this project?
I think for me, I was so extremely excited when I booked the part. I was elated. I called my mom, of course, right away. And then as soon as that wore off, I was like, oh, I actually have to this is a big deal. I have to be good and know what I'm doing. And then it got really, really scary, and I got, wait, why did they cast me? No, this is a mistake. Something is happening. So I think that was it wasn't hesitancy as much as a deep-rooted fear. It was like, okay, don't screw up now.
Interesting. I guess I didn't hold any. I was curious to see how they were going to treat the whole historic side of it. But once we got the first script, I think everybody agrees. And when we got the first script, we went, "Oh, this is going to be cool. This is well written, well researched, and the characters are very clearly defined." And we just talked about doing the read-through. And as soon as we heard everybody read the individual characters, we all went, "Yeah, yeah, we got it." So no, it was more about how we were going to. For me personally, how I was going to play all the different facets of the character and make them all work. But for me anyway, I kind of knew straight away this is going to be cool.
I mean, the only thing I think I worried about when I first came on the production was that they were going to try to double me, and that I've never been doubled, and I didn't like that because I don't like someone else doing my job for me. So I was really worried. I think that was my biggest worry. About the production was that I wasn't going to be able to do all the things that I love to do because of some insurance thing. And it turned out that I ended up getting to do them. So, and I wasn't doubled once. So, I think that is another way. The show has tried to do everything possible to make it as real as possible, even letting us do as much as we can, in the fight sequences and all of that. And I think you'll see it on the screen.
Did you get hurt?
How have you been hurt?
I always talk about the difference between being hurt and being injured. When you do fight sequences, you do get hurt. Hopefully you don't get injured. And I didn't get any injuries, and there was actually fairly few, and most of them were in the stunt department. None of the actors really got any injuries on set, which is great. That's what you always plan for, and I think that means that Pirate Camp and all of the work that we did to be capable of doing that worked. Everything came together, and we were able to do what was needed to be done.
Can you talk about Pirate Camp? What's that involved?
Well, we weren't there. That's
I was in Pirate Camp. Pirate Camp was the first time I met anyone on the production. Because I had done everything over tape because I'd been busy working on another project, but I hadn't had time to meet anyone. So it was more than anything, it was getting to know some of the other people that I was going to be working with. Doing the stunt assessments, doing physical assessments, and seeing what we were going to be capable of. Teaching me sword work. I had done very little of that. I'd done some theater, but it's very different theatrical sword work than film sword work. And sailing, accent. I do an English accent in the show, so just talking more about that.
Well,
how's his accent?
it was very good actually. Yeah, pretty good. Not bad. Yeah, not bad. I had to double him a couple of times, but just mainly in the Bronx.
Well, I only let myself be doubled if I'm
I also.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. Pirate Camp sounds a little bit more like the Pirate Camp than in reality. It was really just training and getting a knowledge base for those of us who aren't as lucky to. Mark's a veteran of this kind of period pieces and whatnot. Whereas for me, this was the first time I was putting on this kind of wardrobe. And in a lot of my past jobs, I wouldn't even go through hair and makeup. I show up like this. Whereas this kind of job, there's a lot more to do to create someone who's a pirate. So it's. It was fun, and we got to go to Cape Town, South Africa, which was cool. I'd never been to Africa before, so it was fun to go there.
And what was your rum research? You mentioned.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of rum. So when I used to be a whiskey drinker, and I got cast as a pirate, and the first change I made was I decided I was going to be a rum drinker rather than a whiskey drinker. So I went out and so I've tried pretty much every rum that's available. It turns out that the Cubans do it best. And what's great about that is it's very hard to get Cuban rum here in America because you've got to pirate it. So that's me and Toby Schmitz, who plays my quartermaster, Jack Rackham. We did a lot of the research together.
I was living right across from Zach, and sometimes if I was up late, doing appropriate kind of work up late, of course, I would look out my window and I'd be able to see Zach and Toby doing a lot of research.
We did a lot of the morning. We stayed up all night doing research.
Very, very dedicated.
Night after night after night. And it's still going on.
Dedicated actors to their work.
I respect their livers for that dedication.
24/7.
I mean, their dedication
To the show, yes, yeah.
What skills did you have to hone that was most difficult that you need to hone for yourself? Was it accent, sword fighting, dancing, whatever? What was the most difficult thing that you guys had to do for this show?
For me, it was definitely an accent thing. I play a French woman on the show, and I think finding exactly where that balance of what kind of French accent, and also it was scary because hopefully we'll have a lot of French fans, and I certainly don't want them watching this show going like, oh,
I like everything but the French.
ridiculous French accent. Yeah, it'd be awful,
Yeah.
and horribly ironic. So there was an element of I was always thinking of if I wanted to honor them properly and do a good job and represent,
I can honestly say that, done quite a bit of work over the years. This is probably one of the best ensemble casts of any television show shot, and anything I've worked on. Everybody brought their best game. Everybody came focused, committed, and ready to be in there and give 110%. So from the point of view of one of the things I was looking for is how are these relationships, the chemistry between the characters going to function? Because the character that I was playing was sort of in the middle of so many plots, that he was reacting with so many people. How are they going to do, that so it could seem like a real cohesive whole? And I can honestly say that everybody in the cast was super. Came with their best game, came ready to play, and was fun to be on a ship with, or on an island with. So let me tell you, it's an impressive cast.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think everything presented its own challenge. But to be honest, when you're working on something that's written as well as it is, and your scene partners are as prepared as they are, and your bosses are as cool as John and Robert are, and it really, it's funny. People always say like you can't really make magic happen. Like magic happens like for some way that it happens, and that's like kind of the feeling that it's been like on the show. Like for some reason, when we did the read through and when you saw everyone play their part for the first time, everything just clicked right into the same place, and you went, oh man, I don't have anything to say. Like I don't. Everything was hard, but everything was also easy because it worked so well.
Totally agree.
You mentioned history, that it was important for you that it was accurate in some way, or
Absolutely.
Yeah. Could you tell what this?
Well,
How did that influence?
I think this period in history, where the show is set in 1715, was an interesting period in history. It's when the British Royal Navy was basically the master of the oceans, and had done so by setting free the privateers who were working at the behest of the royal family, basically, to go and clandestinely attack, the shipping of the Dutch and the French and the Italians, Spain, anybody else that they could basically. That was acceptable as long as it was done in a clandestine way, and that's why it involved secret groups like the Masons, the Templars, and that kind of stuff. And a lot of hierarchy of British noble people. They all went off and became privateers. Once that form of warfare that became politically unacceptable because they wanted to have peace treaties, they outlawed the privateers and they became pirates. So the pirates rebelled against that power of the British Empire to do that. So it's a very interesting period in history where it's just before the American Revolution and you're discovering new worlds. So there's new social paradigms, there's new forms of civilizations, there's new inventions, there's new discoveries. So it's a very frontier type atmosphere. And so that to me was important because I think it reflects sort of where we are in society right now. We've got a communications revolution going on. What used to be traditionally acceptable is no longer traditionally acceptable. The younger generation are looking at the way that we communicate faster. You can access information through this. Literally in 30 seconds, you can find answers to virtually any question on the face of the world. I think that is somehow reflected within the spirit, rebellious spirit, of what pirates represent socially and as icons.
Yeah, I think people forget that this is not very far before the American Revolution. This is 60 years before that. And I think. I think that's important to realize that what the Americas became and that idea of democracy in the new world. This is the first place that existed in North America historically, and I think that was something that everyone on the show, it was very important that we got it right, and whether even down to swords. We had a swordsmith there making the swords so that they would be exactly what they were supposed to be. And that's important because what's the purpose of trying to do a real show and not and not get those things right?
On that topic, how do you guys as actors tread that line? Because the subject is pirates, so how do you avoid being cartoony or like a lot of the kids now, you come up to them and they're like, "Oh, pirates real? No, they're fake." How do you tread that line to make sure that you're accurate and that these are actual figures of history instead of
Well, Charles Vane was a real historical figure. This is not a figment of someone's imagination. So was and they had a life. They historically existed. And so what they've done, the writers very cleverly, is anchor the show in the authentic history of the period.
And then built around it.
And built around it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that people have that broad sense because that's what they've seen. And I think after they see this, they no longer will.
There you go. Well said.
They will not have real
Question.
My question is for Jessica. Obviously, most people think of pirates as men. Being a female character in the series, what do you feel that the show is going to bring towards the female audience? And what was it like actually getting to be that character, and preparing for it?
Right. Well, one of the things that I love so much about the show is that the three main female characters, I guess they're the only female characters, are so strong. All of them are like bitches you don't want to mess with, and really, and all for different reasons. We have Bonnie, who's a proper pirate on the show, a real historical figure, a real pirate, and what's her name? And Bonnie, and then Eleanor's character, Eleanor Guthrie, runs the entire trade, illegal trade in Nassau. So she is hugely powerful. Well, her father runs it, but she's in charge of it. So she's super scary as well. And then my character, I think what's powerful about her is her ability to manipulate, and the fact that I think in a lot of ways she feels smarter than the pirates, and that she can, and she gets to know them really well. Men say all kinds of things when they're in certain situations, like they prostitute. And, yeah. And I think you can manipulate people quite well when you have have your way with them. I suppose that's how you could say it.
That's one way of putting it.
That's one way of putting it.
People are easily manipulated when you get them naked.
Yeah, exactly what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say without saying it. Thank you for saying
There
it.
were a bunch of very female strong characters around the period. Mary Read was another female historic character, real. And don't forget, this is the time of Queen Elizabeth I. You know, she started all of this. She sent the guys out there to do exactly this. So they're historically strong. You get to play them.
I know, I'm so privileged too. Thank you very much.